Okay, this is for section 2.3. It's kind of split up into two parts. This first part is all about division. There's two ways to divide polynomials. First, the way nobody likes, is called long division. Sometimes you have no choice but to do long division. Like notice here, I'm dividing by 2x squared minus x plus 2. Anytime it's something that it's another has degree bigger than 1, you're going to have to use long division. If it doesn't, like down here we have 1, you're only dividing by x minus 3. So if you're only dividing by an x plus something or x minus something, then you can use synthetic division, which is the one we use most of the time. But let's look over long division first. So here's long division. So we have this, here's our dividend, here's our divisor. You don't have to remember those names. I forget them all the time. So this is the one we're dividing. So first, let's write it down. Now notice there's an x cubed missing. When one's missing, leave a space for it. So when I write that down, I'm going to put 8x to the fourth. You can put a 0x cubed if you want. I don't do that. I just leave a space there. And 6x squared minus 3x plus 1. So write it down in descending order. If any of the powers are missing, you leave a space for them. That goes in the box. Now outside the box, we put the thing we're dividing by. So 2x squared minus x plus 2. So we're set up. Now, we're going to do 3 steps over and over. So first, we take the first term inside divided by the first term outside. So that means here, we're going to take 8x to the fourth. I'll write it out here. You don't really have to. We're going to take 8x to the fourth and divide it by 2x squared. So that's first term inside divided by first term outside. Now if we divide, that is 4x squared. Let's write that up here. Okay. Second step is we're going to distribute that. So we're going to take 4x squared times each one of these. Well, this one should be 8x to the fourth if we divide it correctly. 4x squared times a negative x is a negative 4x cubed. Now do you see that's why we left the space? Because I don't want that lined up with the x squared, so that's why we left that space there. And then we take 4x squared times 2, that's 8x squared. So we distribute it. The third step is we subtract. This first one should cancel out if you did it right. Now here we have 0 minus a negative 4x cubed. So that's plus 4x cubed. Be careful about your mind. Remember, we're subtracting each one, so really have to be careful about that. Then we have 6x squared minus 8x squared. That's a negative 2x squared. And we're going to bring down the next term. You could bring all of them down if you wanted to, but usually you only need the next one. So that's our 3 steps there. We divided first term inside divided by first term outside and got that. Then we distributed that times all 3 of these. Then we subtracted. Now we're going to repeat those same 3 steps again. First term inside divided by first term outside. So first term inside is 4x cubed. First term outside is 2x squared. If we divide it, that's going to be 2x. So I put a 2x up here. Now distribute again. 2x times 2x squared, 4x cubed. 2x times a negative x, negative 2x squared. 2x times 2, 4x. So we distributed the 2x times everything outside here. Now we subtract again. Again, this first term should always cancel out. Here we have a negative 2x squared minus a negative 2x squared. That also cancels out. Now we have a negative 3x minus 4x is a negative 7x. Bring down the next number. Now notice if I repeated that again and divided, do you see here my degree is 1, outside my degree is 2. Anytime this degree inside is smaller than the degree outside, you're done. So this last part is our remainder. You could write it as a remainder. Normally it's written as, like if we were writing this answer, we'd say 4x squared plus 2x plus our remainder. You put that remainder over the divisor. That's normally the way you write your answer. So you got the answers you got, plus put the remainder over the divisor. Now I put this thing at the top that says division algorithm. It's a fancy name. Sometimes you'll get in something, they'll ask you to write your answer using the division algorithm. It's really just a long thing. It says P of x, well that's the thing we started with, 8x to the fourth plus 6x squared minus 3x plus 1, equals d of x, that's your divisor, well that was the 2x squared minus x plus 2. Q of x is the quotient, that's the answer, 4x squared plus 2x, plus r of x, that's the remainder. So this is P of x equals d of x times q of x plus r of x for the remainder. That's just, it's the same thing, it's just a fancy way of writing it. I will very seldom ask you to write it like that. I much prefer this other answer we got. Okay, that's long division. Just follow those steps. Now, let's go to the simpler one, the ones we use the most, and that's called synthetic division. Now, remember, we only use it, there's actually a way to use it for some others, but we don't need to know that. Whenever you're dividing by x plus a constant or x minus a constant, you can do synthetic division. First, you write down the coefficients. You write out the coefficients in descending order. So here, x cubed, so we start with a 2x cubed, a negative 7x squared. Now notice there's not an x. You have to put a 0 down. This is the most common mistake when students do synthetic division. They forget to put the 0 down. So if one's missing, put a 0, and then we have 5. So that's the first step. Write the coefficients in descending order. Use 0 for missing terms. Okay, next. This is the divider. If we set that equal to 0. If I said x minus 3 equals 0 and solve, you'd get x equals 3. That 3, we're going to make a little half of a box over here. We're going to put a 3 in that box. So whatever the divisor is, you set it equal to 0. Whatever you get for x, that's what you put in the box. Now I'm going to leave a little space and put a line across here. Now, bring the first number down to the bottom row. So this 2, we take it all the way to the bottom. Now we're going to repeat 2 steps over and over. We take this number at the bottom times the number in the box. So 2 times 3 is 6. Add that to the next number. Now if we add negative 7 plus 6 is a negative 1. Do that again. Number at the bottom times the number in the box. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Add that to the 0. That gives us negative 3. Do that again. Negative 3 times 3 is a negative 9. Add that to 5. I get a negative 4. We just did synthetic division. Now the last thing is we need to write that out back as a polynomial. So we need to put the x, that's what it means right here by put the x's back in. Notice we started with x cubed divided by x. Well, x cubed divided by x is x squared. So this first one is x squared. Then just go in descending order. If that's x squared, this one is x, so that's minus 1x. That makes this the constant. The last number is always the remainder. So I could put that remainder over my divisor. So the last number is always the remainder. So that's what you get when you divide by synthetic division. Again, that's the one we use the most, and it's the simplest. So we just follow those steps. We're actually going to do that on the next problem too. The next thing is called the remainder theorem. It says if I want to find the value of a function, like we've done before, like if I want to find f of 4, let's say. If I want to find f of 4, I can plug 4 into for x. That works fine. Another way is you can also do synthetic division with 4 in the box, and whatever your remainder is, that's the answer. That also works. Like this one here, it says divide this and find f of negative 2. So we're going to do synthetic division. So first we write down our coefficients. We have 3x cubed, we have 8x squared, we have 5x, we have a negative 7. Then it says find f of negative 2. We're going to put negative 2 in the box. Now we do synthetic division. We bring the 3 all the way down. Now we're going to multiply. 3 times negative 2 is a negative 6. We're going to add that to the next number. 8 plus negative 6 is 2. Do that again. 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4. We're going to add that to the next number. 5 plus a negative 4 is 1. Then do that again. 1 times a negative 2 is a negative 2. Add that to negative 7, gives us negative 9. So we did synthetic division for f of negative 2. Now it just so happens this remainder here, that is our answer. So f of negative 2 is negative 9. If you plugged it in here, you'll see, like here we took a negative 2 cubed. That'd be 3 times a negative 8. Here a negative 2 squared, that'd be 8 times 4. Here 5 times a negative 2 is a negative 10 and a negative 7. Let's see, that would be a negative 24 plus 12 minus 10 minus 7. I'm sorry, plus 32, excuse me. So if we added that together, negative 24 plus 32 is 8. 8 minus 10 is a negative 2. Minus 7 is a negative 9. So it's kind of a shortcut way to find the value of a function when you have a long polynomial. Is just do synthetic division with that number, and your remainder is your answer. Now the next thing is called the factor theorem. All the factor theorem says is if we do synthetic division and our remainder is 0, then that is a factor. Because if the remainder is 0, that means it went in there perfectly, so there's no remainder. If there's no remainder, it's a 0. So here we have this polynomial here, f of x equals 2x to the fourth plus 7x cubed minus 4x squared minus 27x minus 18. All right. They tell me that negative 2 is a factor. Well, let's see if it is. If that's a factor, if I take x minus 2 equals 0, I get x equals 2. So let's do synthetic division with 2. So I have 2x to the fourth plus 7x cubed minus 4x squared minus 27x minus 18. I'm going to do synthetic division with 2. So I bring down the 2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 7 is 11. 11 times 2 is 22, plus a negative 4 is 18. 18 times 2 is 36, plus a negative 27 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18, plus a negative 2, 18 is 0. So notice I got 0 for remainder, so it is a factor. And now, it also says x plus 3 is a factor. It's really important, once you find one that's a factor, don't go back to the original coefficients. Use the ones left over. In fact, that's what I call them, the leftovers. Use the leftovers when you do the next one. As long as you got a remainder of 0, use the leftovers for the next one. Well, the next one is x plus 3. If I take x plus 3 equals 0, I get x equals negative 3. So now let's do synthetic division with negative 3. So again, we're using these leftovers here. So we bring down the 2. 2 times a negative 3 is a negative 6, plus 11 is 5. 5 times negative 15 is a negative 15, plus 18 is a positive 3. 3 times a negative 3 is a negative 9, plus 9 is 0. So awesome, it worked again. Well, we knew it would. It told us, so that verifies it. So we had these two that they gave us. Now, notice we have 3 numbers left. You have 2 choices here. You could see if that will factor. Well, I'm sorry. First, let's put the x's back in. Let's put the x's back in like we did up here. So we took x to the fourth divided by x is x cubed. We divided by x again. That leaves us with x squared. So that's 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. Well, if I set that equal to 0, it doesn't factor. If it doesn't factor, I'm sorry, maybe that one does factor. Yeah, I think that one does factor. Let's see. Let's see, 2x and x, two factors of 3. How about if I put a 3 here and a 1 here? That would give me 5x in the middle. I think that looks right. So now if we set each of those equal to 0, so that factors as 2x plus 3 and x plus 1. So if I set 2x plus 3 equals 0, I get x equals a negative 3 halves. If I take x plus 1 equals 0, I get x equals negative 1. So if it said find the remaining factors, well, we had the first two, which they gave us were 2 and negative 3. Now we've also found a negative 3 halves and a negative 1. So if you're asked to find the zeros, if they give you some, do synthetic division, and make sure if you get one that works, use your leftovers after that. So that's the first part of 2.3.